Hello and welcome to The Excerpt. I'm Dana Taylor. Squirmy and Grubs are not your typical YouTube stars. One of them is able-bodied, the other is not. How they navigate the challenges that dichotomy presents is the point. So is how normal their lives as an interabled couple really are.
Among the people that do not believe our relationship is real because I am disabled and Hannah is not, there is a large opinion that I was very, very rich when Hannah met me. And that was the real reason why she reached out and began a faith relationship with me.
Yeah.
The story of Hannah and Shane Burcaws' relationship and why it both is and isn't remarkable is captured in a new book they've co-authored. It's called Interabled, True Stories About Love and Disability, and it's on bookshelves now. Thanks for joining us on The Excerpt, Shane and Hannah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
A quarter of Americans identify as disabled, and many more live with chronic illness. And still, as we heard in the clip we played, you regularly get comments expressing disbelief when people see the two of you are committed to each other for life. Why do you think a book like yours matters to the greater public?
We have found in the years of our relationship that when people realize we're in a romantic relationship, they are often confused. And that, has a variety of reasons, but the main reason is the ableist idea that a disabled man like me or a disabled person could not be a valuable, worthy partner. We and so many of the disabled people we know that is wildly untrue. And we believe that this book will help the greater public realize that as well.
Yeah, I think one of the main reasons that people don't believe in our relationship is because they haven't seen anything like it before. So they come across us and they're like, that's just not real. So this book is giving them so many other couples as examples, so much exposure to interable relationships. So hopefully it'll change some people's minds.
As I mentioned, you have a YouTube channel with over 1 million followers. How did that start and how has it evolved?
It started as a fun summer hobby. After my junior year of college, we were going on a road trip and we thought it would be fun to film it. And it took about 6 months for us to gain some subscribers and start actually seeing people watch our videos.
Yeah.
And at that point, we started getting comments of people not believing our relationship. And that was when we really decided that it would be a mission-based project where we were going to try to show people the true experience of being disabled and being in an interabled relationship.
Yeah, it was so eye-opening to see the level of misinformation and ignorance that's out there in regard to disability. So this book is just another extension of that mission, trying to improve the way society understands disability.
Yeah.
As we've noted, your relationship is unique in that one of you is abled and one is disabled. How did you first meet, and can you talk about the initial biases or challenges you both had to overcome early in your relationship?
Yeah, so we met about 9 years ago now when I was a freshman in college, and I was in Minnesota. Shane was in Pennsylvania.
So we should not have met.
We shouldn't have met. But I saw a mini documentary that one of my favorite actors had made about Shane, and it was about the nonprofit that he ran and the book he had written. And I watched that, and Shane had a blog at the time, so I started reading Shane's blog, and I just felt like we would get along so well. I really wanted to know Shane in person or personally.
She was smitten.
I was smitten, yeah. So I emailed Shane introducing myself, saying I loved his blog. And he emailed back. We began texting. We FaceTimed the next day.
Yeah.
And very quickly, we were like, oh, this is more than just a casual friendship.
Yeah, we were like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because we were both feeling something, and we were 1,000 miles apart.
Very inconvenient.
So Hannah was able to come visit me about 3 months later, and that was when we became official boyfriend and girlfriend. We did a long distance for a few years before I made the move out to Minneapolis so that we could be together all the time.
Yes. And I didn't really have any experience with disability at that time. I didn't know anyone that used a wheelchair. But Shane was really good at teaching me things like how to get his laptop like closer to him, how to help him. I don't even know what else I did at
Just my
that time.
various caregiving.
Just like various things, how to get his tie downs in the car safely attached to his chair. Like just little things like that. And he did it in such a humorous and like fun way. He made me a bingo sheet so I could scratch off things that I had done. So I think he was really good at just making it a comfortable and fun situation and not like a big scary thing where I had to learn about his disability.
It was funny seeing Hannah begin to notice inaccessibility in the world. Like, it was never something that she paid much attention to. But as we began talking more and more, I would get texts from her or phone calls, and she'd be like, I just realized my favorite coffee shop has steps. And I was like, yeah, it's a problem. It was cute to see her like beginning to like care about that kind of stuff.
And then what about some of the initial biases that you faced from those around you? Shane, it may have been something that you had experienced, but was it new for both of you?
In previous relationships, it has been the case that the friends and family members of my significant other has flat out objected to our relationship, saying that I was going to be a burden, that my partner should not be with me. And it probably won't surprise you, that puts a pretty big damper on our relationship. Meeting Hannah, one of the most refreshing and beautiful things was her family and friends accepted me with open arms. One of the first things that her mom asked was, how can we build a ramp so that you can get into our house should you ever want to visit? It was so just, I felt so welcomed. But when Hannah and I would go out in public and we would, meet strangers and they would find out that we're dating, their jaws would hit the floor. And that was always embarrassing. I wanted to be seen as a, 20 something guy out on a date with his beautiful girlfriend, not have people, you know, talk and stare.
A
And
woman started crying once,
yeah, that
crying
was
tears of joy. It was tears of happiness, but she couldn't believe that you had a girlfriend. I also remember on one of our first dates, a woman came up to Shane in a diner and began praying over him very loudly in a very small diner.
trying to cheer me.
Yes, trying to cure him, which I thought was a once in a lifetime thing that we had just witnessed. I was shocked. And Shane was like, oh, it happens all the time. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal, which is true. But at the time, I don't even think I believed you. I think I was like, sure, it happens all the time.
People want to fix me. They don't want me to be disabled, even if I love my life.
Yeah. So that was definitely a new experience.
At times, your writing is deliberately provocative. I want to ask you to read just a bit from the chapter where you talk about your sex life.
Of course.
Oh, yes. The chapter that I don't want my parents to read.
So this is how that chapter begins. Listen up, you ungrateful little shits. In order to help you fully appreciate the gift of a chapter that we are about to bestow upon you, we need you to hop aboard the imagination train and travel with us on a brief thought experiment.
Beautifully read.
Does it worry you in any way with the tone that it may feed the kind of rubbernecking that you regularly criticize? Or what's your thought process in writing in this way?
In our personal lives, and very deliberately in our writing, we use humor to make difficult topics approachable for people. People might have a hard time diving into a chapter about disability and sex, but by making it funny and lighthearted, we're able to attract more people and get them interested enough to read through the chapter and actually learn the reality of disability and sexuality.
Yeah, and that's similar to our YouTube videos where we'll talk about a systemic issue that disabled people face. And if we approach it flatly with, sad tones and whatever horrible
Seriousness,
thing is
yeah.
happening, a seriousness, people will not watch that video. We've seen in our algorithm, people will not watch it. If we approach it with humor and sprinkle in some personality,
Funny stories,
people will care way more deeply about the issue and get really personally invested in it. So it's definitely proven to be an effective strategy for making people interested in what we're talking about.
All couples deal with a constant stream of daily challenges. Yours is no exception, but because you're an interabled couple, some of yours are likely different than what we are used to hearing or seeing from others. Can you share with us about one of them?
Yeah, you were just talking about that in a recent video, Hannah, about how our struggles are really only different when I'm sick. Like caregiving is so seamlessly interwoven into our daily life that it's not the hurdle or the obstacle that many people might think it is. Like Hannah helps me get out of bed when she gets out of bed. That's not a hurdle. That's just a moment of closeness. We're chatting about our day, having a nice time. It's only when I get sick and or when Hannah gets sick that we have to do things a little more, carefully. We get friends and family to help out. But by and large, I think people have this idea that our daily life is filled with all these challenges because I'm disabled. It really isn't.
Yeah, I think our biggest challenge is more the social aspect of our relationship and receiving those comments and like mentally dealing with those things. It's definitely not a problem that comes from within.
Yeah.
Your book not only catalogs interabled themes in your own relationship, but in those of other couples. What did those conversations teach you?
Talking with the other couples that are in the book was our favorite part of the project, hands down. We got to know so many people. And I think the main thing we learned from them was that our relationship and their relationships had so many similarities.
Yeah.
Just sitting down and talking to someone who, brings up a story and we're immediately like, we've had that exact same experience. Someone has prayed over, him in a restaurant too, that kind of a thing.
Almost every couple had like exact experience of someone praying over them.
Yeah, for sure. Just getting to connect with the couples on that level was a wonderful experience.
And, to add on to that, the similarities were true across all types of disabilities. So, whether it was someone that was blind or deaf or had a mobility disability, we all deal with a lot of the same things with inaccessibility and ableism out there in the world.
Yeah.
Vulnerability, caregiving, as you've said, these are all part of most healthy human relationships. Humor plays a starring role in helping the two of you navigate these facets. Did your approach evolve here, or was humor just there from the get-go? Have you always been funny?
Well, thank you.
Very nice question.
I think that the main reason Hannah and I are so in love and that we work so well together is that we have a similar sense of humor that we've developed throughout our lives.
Yeah.
Our way of handling adversity is to make fun of it with each other, to try to make the other one feel better. And I feel like we've always been funny people, and it's the reason that we work well together.
Yeah.
And then finally, what do you most hope people will walk away with after reading your book?
I hope that people come away with the rock solid belief and understanding that disabled people can and do make great romantic partners. I did not have many examples of disabled people out there in the media, like in relationships when I was growing up. And that made me very uncertain about what my future might look like. We need more stories of disability and relationships out there in the world. And I hope that our book plays a small part in that.
Absolutely. I think that's our main goal with the book, is just giving people that exposure. Aside from that, I hope they just enjoy the love stories, because at the core of them, of each chapter, is really just a beautiful love story.
I hope they end the book and go,
Oh.
Yeah.
Hannah and Shane, thank you so much for being on the Excerpt, sharing your story and your love lives.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. I'm Dana Taylor. I'll see you next time.